Shabbat Shalom.
On this fabulous day.
Shabbat Shalom.
How are we
Shabbat Shalom.
giving y'all the praise? How are we doing?
Shabbat Shalom.
How are we doing?
Shabbat Shalom.
How are we doing?
Shabbat Shalom.
Blessed Shabbat day. And you give y'all the praise. He will give you strength to endure all of the tests and the trials you are going through. Oh yeah. He will give you strength to make it through another day.
Shabbat Shalom.
How are we doing?
Shabbat Shalom.
How are we doing?
Shabbat Shalom.
How are we doing?
Shabbat Shalom.
Blessed Shabbat day. How are we doing?
Shabbat Shalom.
How are we doing?
Shabbat Shalom.
How are we doing?
Shabbat Shalom.
Blessed Shabbat day. How are we doing?
Shabbat Shalom.
How are we doing?
Shabbat Shalom.
How are we doing?
Shabbat Shalom.
Blessed Shabbat day. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. How are we doing?
Shabbat Shalom.
On this fabulous day.
Shabbat Shalom.
How are we doing?
Shabbat
We're
Shalom.
giving y'all the praise. How are we doing?
Shabbat Shalom.
How are we doing?
Shabbat Shalom.
How are we doing?
Shabbat Shalom.
Blessed Shabbat day. And you give y'all the praise. He will give you strength to endure all of the tests and the trials you are going through. Oh yeah. He will give you strength to make it through another day.
Shabbat Shalom.
How are we doing?
Shabbat Shalom.
How are we doing?
Shabbat Shalom.
How are we doing?
Shabbat Shalom.
Blessed Shabbat day. How are we doing?
Shabbat Shalom.
How are we doing?
Shabbat Shalom.
How are we doing?
Shabbat Shalom.
Blessed Shabbat day. How are we doing?
Shabbat Shalom.
How are we doing?
Shabbat Shalom.
How are we doing?
Shabbat Shalom.
Blessed Shabbat day.
All right, Baruch Shabbat, everybody. How are we doing today on this blessed Shabbat day? That was a rendition from our studio song that we are working on, and I just wanted to just kind of give you a little taste of that Shabbat Shalom song. So praise Yah for this another Shabbat that the Most High has allowed us to see after this full work week. Was a kind of a crazy work week this week, but nonetheless we made it through, and we're here in our place as usual, as always. Prayerfully you all had a blessed Shabbat, or I should say blessed week, and your Shabbat has been a blessing thus far. You began to acknowledge or to keep the feast, the Shabbat, I should say, the seventh day of rest, and enabling the Most High to refill and to replenish and to restore your health and your strength. We're going to continue along in our lesson on part 2. Last week, Baruch Shabbat, Akok Sandra, and Maury Irvin in the house. We wanted to continue on our series of the purpose. And last week we opened up with the purpose of man. This week we're going to delve into the purpose of woman. But before we do that, I had promised that I would talk about the first man, first Adam, and the second Adam, or also known as the last Adam. So we're going to do that. Let's open up in prayer. Baruch atah Yahweh. Baruch atah Yahweh Eloheinu Malach haolam. Father, we thank you, praise you, and bless you for this blessed Shabbat that you've enabled us to see, this day that you've given us, that you have told us to set apart as a day whereby we may be refilled. It's our refilling day, where we take a break, take a sabbatical from all of the things that we have been so occupied with throughout the course of the 6 days. For you declared in your word, 6 days shall a man labor and do all his work, but the 7th is a Shabbat of Yah. So as we endeavor to honor that, we expect to see, Abba Yah, that you would hold up on your end of the deal, where you said that you would bless us for walking in obedience to your commandments, that we might have life and have it more abundantly. We pray for each and every household that will be tuning in during this Shabbat lesson, during this hour of anticipation, of, in some cases, aggravation, and in some cases, time of bereavement and grief, but yet and still, it's our desire that you empower us to be able to stand in the evil day in these times that we're facing. We also pray that you would empower us to comprehend that many things that we face in life can be avoided if we just simply walk in obedience to all the instructions that you've given us in your manual, to empower us to be able to be successful and to be able to live life to the fullest extent while we're here in this earth suit. We give you praise and we give you honor for Yahshua Mashiach, who came through 42 generations to enable us to be engrafted back to the olive tree. We thank and praise you for the resurrection taking place across the nations of Israelites that's now coming into the knowledge of the covenant and have now begun to challenge their belief system of what it is that you require of us as men and women of your creation. For you've declared in Ecclesiastes that the whole duty of man is to fear you and to keep your commandments. As we endeavor to talk on this particular subject, we pray that you give us the words of speech, articulation of speech, and give us the knowledge and the clarity to share with the listeners and the viewers on this blessed Shabbat as we join in praise and adoration unto you for all that you've given us for life and life abundantly. We praise you and give you honor in the name of Yahshua Mashiach. We say hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Todayah. Amen. All right, brothers and sisters, we're going to jump right in. I did promise last Shabbat that we would talk about Adam. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of summarize because I'm not going to do a full lesson. I will honor my word. As far as to Adam, okay, when I was connected with the Hebrew Israelite congregation in Delaware, I'm not going to mention the name because some of their congregants may tune into this channel, and I don't want to make it appear as though I'm attacking or anything of that nature. But the fellowship that I went to, they were keeping Rosh Hashanah. And of course, most of us that know anything about Rosh Hashanah know that is what the world calls the Jewish New Year. And so I began to do research on why or what the significance of it is. And this congregation was a Hebrew Israelite congregation. They were celebrating the New Year and they were saying Happy New Year. And I was like, that was actually the last time I went to that congregation because that kind of disturbed me that we were following Jewish practices. But so I went on to research about what's the significance of Rosh Hashanah. And I was going to share some links. Maybe I won't because I want to get right into the lesson, but I'll just kind of give it to you in this form. But there's a couple of links that I was going to share. And in the links, they're talking about that Rosh Hashanah is basically the month of creation. And that's why they called it the beginning of the year or the first or the new year. Okay. So that is what is traditionally believed to be the time when Adam, right, and his wife was created, which happened to correspond to the month of the year in feast, which begins with Memorial of Trumpets and Day of Atonement, and then the Feast of Tabernacles. Okay, so with the historical dynamic, using Moray Josiah's word dynamic, I like that he uses that. Using the spiritual dynamic, Adam was traditionally believed to be born in under the sign of Libra, right? Now, of course, there's some characteristical traits that goes along with that, and maybe we'll take a whole lesson and do it. I have some notes, but maybe I'll get back to it before we close out. But I want to get to the meat of what the lesson is today about the purpose of the woman. Okay, so Adam is believed to have been created in the month of Tabernacles under the sign of Libra. And also Yahshua, right? Yahshua, Christianity has misinformed us, right? by practicing traditions that don't correspond with the Hebraic time frame, right? Okay, there are no mysteries in the book. I know religious people say that, but there's no mysteries in the book. There might be some things that are concealed. It's a difference between being concealed and being a mystery. Somebody said, brother, isn't the mystery and concealed the same thing? No, it's not. Concealed just means hidden. Mystery is like nobody knows. All right. So, and someone would say, I was watching a video and this pastor talking about semantics. We're not talking about semantics. We're talking about reality, right? But anyway, so Christianity has placed the birth of the Messiah in December, which is scientifically or naturally, right? And historically, right? And geographically incorrect. The Messiah and scripturally incorrect from a ceremonial perspective, right? I'm going to kind of open some of that up real quick and then we're going to get into the meat. Okay. So Yahshua, let's do this here since I'm there. All right. Yahshua, to comprehend the birth of Yahshua, we have to look at the birth of Yachanan, because in looking at the birth of Yachanan, let me back up my camera here. I'm a little way up on the screen here. Let's back up a little bit. Okay. So Yachanan, to comprehend when Yahshua was born, we have to look at Yachanan. So let's go to Luke chapter 1. And I did this lesson years ago. I'm gonna kind of be kind of brief with it so you can kind of get into it and get out, so you can have something. So because we know year-end feast is coming up, and shortly after that starts the Heli days, or the whole lie days as we call them, right? Let's see. So let's go to Luke chapter 1, right? And we're going to get a date real quick, because we're going to show you that Yahshua was born under the sign of Libra too. Okay, so we go to Luke chapter 1, right? A Baruch Shabbat to your coat, Sherry. Good to see you, my sister. Okay, now, Luke chapter 1, and let's start at verse 5, right? Luke chapter 1, verse 5. All right. Verse 5, there was in the days of Herod, the king of Yahudia, a certain priest named Zachariah. Now, incidentally, that Zacharias is a Hellenized version of the name of Zachariah, or the King James transliteration Zechariah, right? Okay. A certain priest named Zechariah of the course of Abiyahu, because we got Abiyah, that's another transliteration, and it's an attempt really to exclude the name of the Most High, right? That I was supposed to play that clip, Juanita Bynum, where she said Yah. That's powerful that somebody like her would take a leap and proclaim Yah. I'm still messed up about that. I mean, I know her doctrine and her theology is still out there, but just the fact that she took a leap and said Yah. Let me see. Let me go back in. Okay. So, of the course of Abiyahu and his wife was of the daughters, right, of Aharon. Her name was Eli Sheba. Now, Elizabeth is a Hellenized version, Eurocentric actual version of Eli Sheba, right? Verse 2. And they were both righteous before Yah, right? Now, we're going to learn something while we're learning something, because we're going to see what we're being righteous, because many of our New Testament believers, so to speak, don't believe that we're required to obey the Most High law, statutes, and commandments. So we're going to show you that that's incorrect, right? Let me see if I can back up, because I'm kind of out of balance on my camera here without me having to adjust it. Okay, let me slide my table back so I can sit back and get comfortable without scratching up the floor. All right, where was I at? So her name was Elisheba, and they were both righteous before Yah, walking in all the commandments and ordinances of Yah blameless. So don't let nobody fool you. Righteousness is defined as walking in Yah's commandments. What commandments are we walking in as a sign that we are righteous? You know, we always hear people say, oh, all our righteousness are as filthy rags. There's not one righteous, not one. So that's an attempt of our beloved brothers and sisters that believe that we're not obligated to obey the Most High's law, statutes, and commandments. That's their attempt to say, we're not under that law. But here we see an example in the second half of the Bible, which the world calls the New Testament, which is incorrect. You need to get a new, you need to get the Malachi reference scriptures, which we haven't released. Right? I've been working on it. I got to get it finished. But the Malachi reference scriptures, that what the world calls the New Testament, is called the restoration, right, of the renewal, right, upon the people of covenant. All right. So it's not new. It is a renewal or a restoration or a revival of a covenant people who broke a covenant, who ultimately are going to come back under the bonds of the covenant, right? So that's what it is. Now, that'll take me down another road, and we'll have a whole nother lesson just dealing with the New Testament. We're not going to deal with that today, all right? So we just kind of hitting something on the way to going somewhere, right? All right, now, so they were walking in the commandments and ordinances of Yah blameless. That's what righteousness is. Righteousness is not just believing. Oh, I just believe. I'm righteous because I just believe in Jesus, right? Yahshua didn't teach that. He talked all through the scriptures. If you love me, keep my commandments. He didn't change a beat, right? Religion changed it and flipped the script. But Yahshua didn't teach, don't keep the commandments. When they asked him, what must I do to have eternal life? He said, keep the commandments. That would have been, like Geno Jennings always said, that would have been a good opportunity for him to say, oh, you don't have to keep the commandments. Just believe in me, right? So Yahshua didn't say that. Didn't say, oh, just believe in me. You're going to be all right. Just believe. No, he said, keep the commandments. Right? Ecclesiastes says, what is the whole duty of man? Fear Yah. Didn't say it's the duty of the Israelites. Didn't say the duty of the Jews. Didn't say the duty of the Judaizers. Well, he said it is the whole duty of man to fear Yah and to keep his commandments, because why? The Most High created man, right? It's not the other way around. You can't pick and choose whether or not what parts of the covenant you want to keep, right? And hold me accountable, right? Thou shalt not murder is only one, right? So you talking about you pro-life, but yet you doing the opposite of what the Most High gave you to live, which is keep his commandments. So while you say you pro-life when it comes to a child being born, you pro-death when it comes to walking in the commandments and ordinance of Yah, like Yachanan did. You want to be a follower of Yahshua. Yahshua and Yachanan his father walked in the commandments and ordinances of Yah, blameless. How can you walk in the commandments and ordinances of Yah blameless? Where was Yahshua at during this time? He wasn't even born, right? So let's look at the thing from a proper angle, right? All right, let's go back in now. All right, I went way out there. Let me bring myself back in now. All right, verse 7. All right. And they had no child because Sheba was barren, and they both were now well stricken in years, right? Up in the age. Both of them was cougars and cougarettes. It came to pass that while he executed the priest office before Yah in the order of his course. Now this is key right here, right? Underline that, right? He executed the priest's office before Yah in his order of his course, right? So now, Yachanan's father, his daddy, right, was a priest, right, in a specific order, right? The order he was in was found in verse 5. Let's look at verse 5 again so you can see it, right? He was of the course of Abiyahu. Now, that is going to enable us, right, to establish a date or a time, I should say, of conception, right, for Yachanan the Mercer, right? All right, now, I'd already spent too much time on this, but let me try to wrap it up, okay? All right, so if you go to, real quick, go to First Chronicles. Is that what I want? First Chronicles First Chronicles chapter 24, right? So go to First Chronicles chapter 24 real quick. All right, and we're going to read verse, let's see, chapter 24. My target verse is verse 10, all right? Let's just go up for a little bit just for the sake of it so we can kind of be on the same page. All right, let's start at verse 1. All right, and I'll read expeditiously. Now these are the divisions of the sons of Aharon. The sons of Aharon, Nadab, Abihu, that's Abihu, okay, Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. But Nadab and Abihu died before their father and had no children. Therefore, Eleazar and Ithamar executed the priest office. And David distributed them both Zadok of the sons of Eleazar and Ahimelech of the sons of Ithamar according to their offices and their services. And there were more chief men found of the sons of Eleazar than the sons of Ithamar, and thus were they divided. Among the sons of Eleazar were the 16 chief men of the house of their fathers, and 8 among the sons of Ithamar according to the house of their fathers. Now, what's important is that we look at, it says the house of their, not mothers, fathers, which is going to lead us to our lesson. The household is counted by the fathers, right? Just a little side note, we're going to get into it a little later on. The woman may act as a head of the household under certain circumstances. If there's a man in the house, then the man is the head of the household. That's how y'all establish it. We're going to show you why in a little bit, okay? All right, so going back in. So by the house of their fathers, the first 5, thus they were divided by lot, right? One sort with another. For the governors of the sanctuary, the governors of the house of Yah, were the sons of Eleazar and the sons of Ithamar, right? Why? So the Most High established the protocol, right? Because Israel, in Exodus 19, that was supposed to be kingdom of priests, rejected the precept. Yah chose Aharon and his sons. So we're talking about purpose now, all right? So you have the perfect purpose plan of Yah, which is his precept, which is every Israelite or every son born in the house, whether you are of the seed of Abraham or not, to be the priest. That's Yah's precept. That's what it's going back to, right? Now, so let's go back in. Verse 6, Shemaiah, there goes Shemaiah, the son of Nathaniel, the scribe of the Levites, wrote them before the king and the priest, and Zadok the priest, and Ahimelech the son of Abiathar, and before the chief of the fathers of the priests and Levites, one principal household being taken for Eleazar and one taken for Ithamar. Right, now, just a little side note. When we see the sons of Aharon, right, and then we see also in that passage, right, we're learning something, right, Levites, right? That's a foreshadow of restoration of the priesthood to the nation, right? Why? Because the original precept was all of those sons that are in the house and those that were of the children of Israel, right? To be the priests to the nations, the sons of Adam. But when they rejected that, the Most High chose Aharon's sons. Now we go from Aharon's sons to what? To Aharon and descendants of Levi called the Levitical priesthood, right? So that's a precursor, or I should say a foreshadow of restoration of the priesthood to the whole nation. Why? Because if the Most High chose Aharon, and now he said, okay, well, now we're going to include also Levi. And later on, we're going to include what? Naphtali, right? Gad, right? Asher, right? Issachar, right? Yehuda, right? The 12 sons ultimately are coming back to be the priesthood to the nations. That's the foreshadow that Yahshua had, right, when he came in the flesh, to reinstate the nation back to the precept, not to the sons of Aharon. And if you don't get that, you're going to miss the whole thing. If you still thinking the sons of Aharon priesthood, then you don't comprehend the Malak Sadat order that the Most High is trying to reinstate the nation and the people that he called back to, right? So let's go back in here. All right, now this is the part right here. So we want to be clear that Abiyahu was one of the sons, right, of Aharon. All right, now it says, Shemaiah the son of Nephthael, the scribe, one of the Levites, wrote them before the king and princes, and Zadok the priest, Ahimelech the son of Abiathar, and before the chief of fathers of the priests of Levites, one principal household being taken for Eleazar and one being taken for Ithamar, right? So now we're going to see these courses. We had the first lot. These are the courses, right? King James uses courses, right? Order, but courses order lot, right? So we have the lots, right? So we got first lot came to Yehorib, second to Jediah, third to Hiram, fourth to Seorim, fifth to Malchiyahu, sixth to Mayamin, the seventh to Hakkoz, and the eighth to Abiyahu, right? So Abiyahu is the eighth course. Abiyahu is who they're talking about in Luke, right? So Luke, the father of Yachanan, was of the course of Abiyahu, which is the eighth, right? So now, with that said, what we have to comprehend to get to the conception date, right? We know Abiyahu was of the eighth course, right? 8, right? So each priest it was 24 of them all together, right? I believe it says somewhere in that passage, it was 24. So if it's 24, that means what? If you got two priests, you got two priests that operate in 2 week increments, right? So you have 2 times 12 is 24, right? So now, if Abiyahu is of the 8th course, right? You got 2, 4, 6, 8. That's 4, right? So the 4th month of the calendar year is when Abiyahu's course fell, right? Now, according to Exodus, real quick, I'm not going to turn there. According to Exodus chapter 12, right? Verse 2 and Deuteronomy chapter 16, verse 1 lets us know that the ceremonial year, or year, as a matter of fact, year period, not just ceremonial, right? We got to erase that out of our minds. Civil year and the ceremonial. Civil year is tradition. Civil year is what they call Rosh Hashanah. Okay? That ties that back to Adam and creation. Okay? So, the fourth month of the calendar year is what feast day happens in the fourth month, right, of the calendar year? All right? Pentecost, Shavuot. So the conception of Yachanan was the feast of Pentecost, a feast of weeks. Right? Now we got a time when Yachanan was conceived. Now let's go back to Luke, right? We're gonna tie it together and we're gonna go into the meat of the particular title of the lesson, all right? So let's go back to Luke chapter 1. And let's tie it all together. All right. So we comprehend now that he was of the 8th course, right? Hold on a second. Comprehend that he was of the 8th course, right? The 8th course to Abiyahu, right? Just to clarify, verse 19 says these were the orderings, right? Because the orderings of them in their service to come into the house of Yah according to their manner under Aharon their father, as Yah, the Elohim of Israel, had commanded him, right? So that's that Abiyah order, right? That Yachanan came under. Now back to Luke, right? So back to Luke. Okay. And now it says it seemed good. Let's see, where was that? I left off at that she was barren. Okay. Okay, it came to pass as he executed the priest's office, verse 8, verse 9. According to the custom of the priest's office, his lot was to burn incense when he went into the temple of Yah. So this was during the feast of Pentecost, when Yachanan the Mercer was conceived in the womb of Sheba, right? And Zechariah. All right, let's go back in. And the whole multitude of the people were praying without at the time of incense. And there appeared unto him an angel of Yah standing on the right side of the altar of incense. And Zechariah saw him, he was troubled, and fear fell upon him. And the angel said unto him, Fear not, Zechariah, for thy prayer is heard, and thy wife Elisheba shall bear thee a son, and thou shalt call his name Yachanan. Thou shalt have joy and gladness in mind, and many shall rejoice at his birth. For he shall be great in the sight of Yah, and shall drink neither wine nor strong drink. He shall be filled with the Ruach, even from his mother's womb. All right. How about that? People say, Christian teaching, nobody was filled with the Spirit until after Yahshua died. How to explain that one there, right? All right, let's go back in. So he was filled with the Spirit from his mother's womb. And many of the children of Israel shall be turned to Yah, their Elohim. Right? Okay, now. And he shall go before him in the spirit and power of Eliyahu. That's an Elias, but that's Eliyahu. To turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the disobedient to the wisdom of the just, to make ready a people prepared for Yah. Right? How about that, right? Zechariah said to the angel, Whereby shall I know this? For I am an old man, and my wife is well stricken in years. Now let's save us some reading time. So let's go to verse 23 here. It says, Came to pass that as soon as the days of his ministration were accomplished, he departed to his own house, and after those days his wife Elisheba conceived, and hid herself 5 months, saying, Thus have Yah dealt with me in the days wherein he looked on me to take away my reproach among men. Right? And now here's the kicker here. In the 6th month, right? Gabriel was sent from Yah into Galilee, named Nazareth, to a virgin espoused to a man whose name was Yosef of the house of David. The virgin's name was Miriam, right? So now we got 6 months later, right? So if we do the math, if Yachanan's father's course was in June or during the time of Pentecost, and that was his conception date, right? Then 6 months later from the time of Pentecost would be what month? That would be what the world calls in the Gregorian calendar, December. So we're going to show you that Yeshua was conceived, not born, in December. He was conceived in his mother's womb in the month of Dec, which is the 10th month, right? 7, which is Tabernacles. 8, 9, 10. 10, Dec, December is the 10th month, but the world tells you it's the 12th month. But December, Dec means 10, right? Decalogue, 10, right? So it was the 10th month that the world calls the 12th month that Yeshua was conceived. Now let's look at it clear. Let's clarify. Okay, let's go back in. All right, now. The angel came into her and said, Hail, thou art highly favored. Yah is with thee. Blessed art thou among women. And when she saw him, she was troubled at the saying, and cast in her mind, what manner of salutation should this be? And the angel said unto her, Fear not, Miriam, for thou hast found favor with Yah. And behold, thou shalt conceive, underline that, in thy womb, and bring forth a son, and shall call his name Yahushua. He shall be great, and shall be called the Son of the Highest, and Yahweh shall give unto him the throne of his father David. Right? So now, watch this on verse 33. And he shall reign over the house of Jacob forever, and his kingdom there shall be no end. Then shall Miriam unto the angel, How shall this be, seeing I know not a man? And the angel answered and said to her, The Ruach shall come upon thee, and the power of the highest shall overshadow thee. Therefore also that Kodesh thing which shall be born of thee shall be called the Son of Yah. Verse 36. And behold, thy cousin Elisheba, she hath also conceived a son in her old age, and this, underline this now, this is the 6th month with her who was called barren. How you like that? So it just opened up. So now he let us know that the conception, the announcement and the conception of Yeshua in his mother's womb was 6 months after the conception of Yehochanan, right? The world calls John, the Mercer. 6 month difference. So his conception June, Yeshua's conception December. Now, so when you count 9 months from December, you get September. Was the time and the birth of Yeshua, born during the time of the year and feast of tabernacles. Okay? So now, I said all that to say this. So Yeshua also, right, was born under the sign of Libra. Right? Now, there's some issues with that. But I want to get into our lesson on the purpose of the woman. Okay, maybe we'll kind of tap into a little bit. It'll be a part 2 of that. I want to show you amplify some things, some characteristical traits that Yahshua had to deal with, that Adam had to deal with in that characteristical trait from that astrological sign of Libra. Let me do this here. Let me give you a bonus for this real quick. Okay, precursor, all right, a preview, right? So what I want to do is I just read some of the traits and let your mind speak to you, right? All right. So what I want to do, Libra, right? What are some of the signs of Libra, right? Okay, let's do this here real quick. This is an internet source I'm going to kind of read real quick from. Okay. Is that the one I want? That's not the link I wanted. Hold on a second. I must have hit the wrong one. Hold up a minute. That's the wrong one. I want Libra. That's Virgo. Hold on a second. Okay, here we go. So Librans are extroverted, cozy, and friendly people. Librans are like the scales that symbolize the sign, are often concerned with attaining balance, right? Harmony, peace, and justice in the world. Isn't that the mission that Yahshua came under, right? To bring peace. How beautiful are the feet of them, right, that publish peace. It's not a coincidence that he came under the sign, the astrological sign of peace, of the peace bringer. Y'all don't do nothing haphazardly and just by chance. Everything is purpose, right? All right, let's go back real quick. Okay. It says, concerned with attaining balance, harmony, peace, and justice in the world. With their vast stores of charm, right, intelligence, frankness, persuasion, and seamless connectivity, they are well equipped to do so. They might be a little too easygoing and laid back at times. Indeed, they are typically dedicated workers and leaders in their area. They excel in peacekeeping, professing because they have a rare ability to perceive all sides of the arguments. Now, doesn't it describe Yahshua to the T? That's exactly how Yahshua was, right? All those traits, right? The Most High don't do nothing haphazardly, right? You can see that. So we're going to walk down that road and we'll show you examples, right, of how Yahshua operated in those the character of that sign he was born under, right? Now, on the flip side, let's show you the negative traits that Yahshua had to deal with, right? Okay, this is the negative. Okay, let's go in. It says, the free spirited air sign hates being, wait a minute, hold on. Thing jumped out on me. Hold on a second. Hates being tied down and loves an environment where they can let themselves flow harmoniously, carefully balancing their scales and enjoy the high life. But the truth is, we are here to be with each other and that makes us want to think of those we care about. This zodiac sign can be extremely helpful and will there if you need them. They are highly dependable, but then who doesn't have a negative side, right? So now, Yahshua didn't have a wife. Historians might want to try to make him out to have one, right? All right. Now, it says that their negative trait, one of the traits is extremely manipulative, right? Okay. Emotional detachment, right? Superficial and materialistic, right? They said Yahshua had expensive garments, historically wise. But let's continue. Constant judgment, right? So that's it there. Okay. All right. So we can see some of the battle of the sign, which is the flesh, because the negative traits of the sign, right, is like the works of the flesh is to the spirit man, right? All right. So probably you got something out of that. Now let's go to our lesson. Okay. I promised that, so that's the reason why I spent that time. Okay, now let's move expeditiously into the purpose, right, of the woman, right? Now I'm gonna open up with a statement, right? Okay. The woman, as we're gonna see, we're gonna read text, but I'm gonna do like, what's his name? Has an opening statement. What's his name? Jerry Springer. No, Jerry Springer actually had a closing statement. Who was that had an opening statement? But I'm gonna make an opening statement, right? The woman, right, is protected by her covering, right? So the world has made submission appear to be an ugly thing, right? Submission is designed to be a protection, right? Why? Because the Most High made the man first, right? So that he can have the perception, the vision to be able to see, right, all of the things that would come to hinder the plan that Yah has for man. So man has to be connected to Yah's purpose, and the woman has to be connected to the purpose that Yah put the man there for, right? In that is protection for the woman, all right? Now, however, here's the thing, right? To be spiritual is to comprehend purpose. See, Christianity has done us a disservice. We think spirituality is determined by how many tongues you speak in, how many times you pray a day. Spirituality is not determined by that. It's determined by your submission to Yah's code of ethics. If you don't submit to Yah's code of ethics, I don't care how many tongues you pray in, you're not spiritual. Spirituality is determined by submitting, whether it be the man, the male, or the female, submitting to the will of Yah. That is spirituality. But we've been robbed to believe that spirituality is determined by how many times you pray, or how fast you speak in tongues, or how many times you jump up and dance when the song comes on. That's called being out of order. It's confusion what it is, right? All right. So Yah, spirituality is determined by submission. Right? So in a negative sense, the world have made submission, because see, when Yah established his order, he gave instructions of how the operation of the family would go smoothly. Right? So when we walk against Yah's plan, his operation, then it causes us to be stagnated and unproductive and unfruitful in everything that we attempt to do. Why? Because we are out of order. Right? Now, so we've been made to look at submission as something ugly, when submission is Yah's way of blessing us to obtain all the things that we desire in life. But we can't have what we desire if we don't follow the prescription to obtain it. Then the thief can come in and steal and kill and destroy. Why? Because we're out of the flow. Okay? Now, we're going to discover in this lesson today, and if I have to go a little over, I will, because I spent extra time in that other discourse that I promised. Okay? We're going to discover in this lesson today that the man was given to be the protector and cover of the woman. But here's the thing, here's the dilemma. You can't cover and protect somebody that don't want to be covered and protected. That's when we have to go against those astrological traits that prohibits us from following Yah's mandate. Because characteristical traits will lead us, in a lot of cases, specifically the negative ones, will lead us into destruction. Right? So the man has to cover, the woman has to comprehend that Yah gave him to you to cover you, not the other way around. All right? We're going to get into the book. We're going to show you what the book says, right? All right, now, but this is my opening statement. All right? It says, the woman, I mentioned this earlier, she may act in the role of the head of a household, but that's not Yah's plan. There are circumstances that may force a woman to be in that position as head of a household, but that's temporary. Whether it be a physical household or whether it be a assembly where you gather, right? That's not to say that Yah won't use women, but it's saying that Yah's protection for the woman is to be under the covering, right? That's the protection, right? And we're going to show what the book of the law says about that, right? All right, now. A woman in submission to her husband, right, is like having, I'm going to get practical now, right? It's like having a 4-wheel drive truck, right? See, a man that don't have a woman, right, is a 2-wheel vehicle. Sometimes that 2-wheel vehicle could get stuck, right? But when you have 4-wheel drive, oh my goodness, it's going to be kind of hard if you get stuck, right? All right. So having a woman who is in submission to her husband is like having a 4-wheel drive truck. Because why? She's not going her direction. She's going the direction where her head is going. And that 4-wheel drive is going full speed. And you're going to get to where you're going because why? Both wheels is working hard to go in that direction of where that head is pulling. Okay? But the humanity of the flesh will cause you to suffer a wreck or get stuck, right? So when you have the woman who's designed to be under the cover of her head and she's helping to push that vehicle in the way it's supposed to go, right? You got extra power. You got extra power to get the job, whatever the goal in life is for the family. You got extra power to get you to that destination, right? Okay. Now, for our single brothers, you can get places with a 2-wheel drive, but it's a whole lot easier, right? With 4 wheels. Because the time's gonna come when you get onto a tough terrain, you got a 2-wheel vehicle, it's ice outside or snow outside or mud or whatever, you get stuck. But if you have a 4-wheel drive, you got differential switch, you click like on a truck, and it alternate, get you out of that rut that you're in, right? But when you operate with 2 wheels, right, at some point in time, you might need that 4-wheel drive to get you out of that hole. All right? Now, I'm a spiritualize that. So when both are working together, right, that's when that differential switch, for those of you that drive trucks, right, that differential switch is like your connection to Yah, right? When you get stuck, you say, Yah, I'm following your instructions. I have a goal plan in mind. I flick that switch, and now, boom, you're able to get out of that hole. Yah's the differential switch. Cause that vehicle to rock, those wheels to spin at high speed and till you get out of that hole. Hallelujah. So when both are working together, that is when the differential switch is pulled on and it can pull you out of any jam. So without unity of the team, it's complicated to get out of the jam. And not knowing purpose, it can't be 2 visions in the house because the vehicle could be going in 2 different directions. What happens when a vehicle is going in 2 different directions? Right? You're going to split that vehicle in half. Right? So the wheels are designed to roll to go the same direction. Right? Now, let's go to Genesis chapter 2, right? That was my opening statement, right? Let's go to Genesis 2, right? We're going to show you what the Most High said. All I said, right, I gave you a whole lesson in one opening statement. And now we're going to amplify that. So let's go to Genesis chapter 2, right? Verse 18. All right? Let me look at my chat real quick here while we pulling that up. My chat went out. Let me see. I can't see who's dialoguing here. Hold on a second. Let's see what's going on here. All right. Baruch Shabbat Akot Adaya. Elias Stone. Baruch Shabbat to you, my brother. told I would buy Robin Jones, Baruch Shabbat, a coat, Catherine, Baruch Shabbat. All right, now, so Genesis chapter 2, right? Verse 18. Okay, Genesis chapter 2, verse 18. Why is my screen black? I had a little technical glitch there for a second. And Yah Elohim said, it is not good that man should be alone, right? In other words, it's not good for man to have a two-wheel drive vehicle. You need a four-wheeler, right? Even with in the semis don't have four-wheel drive. They just have they actually have four-wheel drive. Let me take that back, but the four-wheel drive is in the back. But the pickup truck has the four-wheel drive, 2 in the front and 2 in the back, right? So you got that extra power. Then you got the differential switch on the truck, right? So, okay, I correct myself, all right? It's not good that man should be alone. I will make him a help meet for him, right? So Yah, the purpose of the woman, right, is to be the help meet to your head, not to lead your head, not to tell your head what to do, not to boss your head, but to be a helper, right? And if we don't comprehend that, that's why life is difficult. That's why many families end up in divorce and children end up separated from the parents because, right, we fail to recognize Yah's precept. That's not a result of fall. That is Yah's order. The question is, some people are following the wrong head. It's kind of like a job, right? Why would you go work for a company and you don't believe in the corporate views and values because you need a job? See, we do ourselves a disservice by I need a job to pay bills, so I'll work for a company that I really don't agree with their views, but I need a job and the pay is good. That's prostituting yourself, right? So sometimes some women need a husband, right? And you might not necessarily see that man as being somebody that you can come get under, but because I have a need, he's a man, I'm gonna marry him, I'm gonna hook up with him, only to find out that I'm not willing to follow his lead. Right? So it puts you in a peculiar situation. So according to Yah, are you to disobey him because you have a certain kind of feeling about how he's leading you? right? So when you disobey the head that Yah or that you chose, see, that's the thing in counseling. People don't teach you right. When a woman marries a man, you're marrying that head. If you can't follow that head, then you say, you know what, you're a good person, seem like a nice guy, I don't think I can follow your lead. There's no love lost. But when you like the exterior, you're talking about the five levels of compatibility. When you follow the visual and you're attracted to that woman or man, we'll speak specifically to the women now. When you follow that man because he's got muscles, he's good looking, got good hair, whatever, right? You have failed the litmus test because you chose to follow something on the surface and not on internally. So now you're going to have a life full of complications unless you pray to Yah that you can submit to that headship. That should be the prayer. The prayer shouldn't be Yah change him. The prayer should be Yah empower me to submit to my head that I'm under now. Help him to make the decisions, right? Give him the strength and the power and the ability to be Yah's man. Help me to have patience and to believe that you have him in your hands, right? When you praying and you asking the Most High to change him, change him, change his mind, you out of order. Only Yah's not going to change your mind. Yah has made man to be a free moral agent, right? You have the ability to choose whether that's why I say you do that litmus test. If you see a man and he's not submitted to Yah and you hook up with him, right? You made a bad decision. Now you stuck. You got to pray to Yah, help me to humble myself because that's my protection. I married somebody that I don't believe can protect me, but you done bought it's like buying a house. You had the home inspection come through and tell you everything wrong with the house, but you bought the house now, knowing it was wrong with it. We don't read that inspection report to find out that the house is infested with termites. You signed that mortgage, 30-year mortgage, you stuck with that house until you can find a buyer or you can sell and get out of it, or maybe decide to foreclose on that house. You be homeless, right? But Yah's purpose for the woman is to submit to the head that you're under, whether you agree or disagree. When you married under that cover, you married that head, right? Now, let's go back in here. This is going to help a lot of people, right? Yah said, it is not good for man to be alone. I will make him a helpmeet for him. So remember, Yah said, I am going to make a helpmeet for him, not make a helpmeet for her. We got to get that on our belt. Yah didn't make him for you. He made you for him. Because why? He empowered him to be a protector and a cover. But if you don't get under the cover, you're not under the protection. You're rolling solo. We're going to show you what the book of law says about that in a minute. All right, now, let's amplify this helpmeet, right? We're going to look at the Strong's King James Plus, right? All right. It says, I will make him a help. So the first word we're going to look at, let me bring this up here. I will make him. Hey, hold on a second. Lost my place now. Wait a minute. Verse 16 was it? Yeah, 18. Okay, 18. I got it now. I will make him a help. So the first word help is aid, right? Easer, aid, right? Now, here's the thing. Look. Those y'all that like Hebrew, we going in. We're going to show you why we're having family problems, right? Because we're not following. We say you follow law, statutes, commandments, but when it comes to social relationships, we don't follow it. And we bucking heads and have problems and don't realize why we having the problems. Because we're not following the law, statutes, and commandments. We don't eat pork or shrimp, right? But we don't follow when it comes to social matters. All right, now, so Genesis 2, let's go back in again. So the word easer means aid. Now the word aid comes from the word azar, which means to surround. That is to protect or aid. So that woman is supposed to surround that man. Right? If your husband don't talk, right? You are to surround him. Because sooner or later, he going to open up and start talking. You don't got to pull it out of him. It's human nature. Right? To surround, and when you surround him, right, you are actually protecting him by helping him. Hey, baby, is there anything you need me to do for you? I want to lock in. See, when you lock into your husband's vision, whatever it is, ask him sometime. Say, honey, what's your vision? And your blessing comes when you lock into the vision of your head. Why? Because he's protecting you like you're supposed to protect him. Because why? You're operating under his cover for your protection, for your safety, for your well-being. All right? So, Yah created the woman to be a helper to the man who he commissioned for a specific task, right, of having dominion on the earth in his life, right? We're going to have some weddings to perform after this because when we get done with this series here, some people going to be calling saying, brother, that's a powerful lesson. And the sister's going to be, brother, I'm ready to be a wife. I'll be getting some phone calls. Can you come perform our wedding ceremony? Look, with counsel, right? All right, now. So he said here, I will make him a help meet. Now this phrase right here, meet. Let's look at this here. I will make him a help meet for him, right? All right, the word for meet is the word neged, right? It says what? From nagad, the front, right? Right? Which means front, manifest, to announce, to expose, to predict, to explain, to praise, right? A front that is part opposite. A front that is part opposite, specifically the counterpart or mate. What does that mean? When you are operating in your help meets status. When you talk, people say, you sound just like your husband. Because you become the counterpart. Right? You become so much of a counterpart of your husband that when he starts speaking, you can finish a sentence. Because you are so engulfed, you are so surrounded your husband that when he thinks, before he can say it, you already know where he's going. Right? Because, once again, in you getting under his mission, you then empower the household, which ultimately empowers everybody that comes in the house, whether they are the natural born seed or they are the stranger that is brought into the household. Everything comes in there, becomes empowered by the operation of the household. You can actually feel when you walk in the house, you can feel when a man is respected as being the head and his wife is comprehending that she is the help. You can walk in the house and feel that unity. You're like, wow. Brother comes in the house, says, I want to do such and such and such and such and such. She says, let me consult with my husband. That's a help meet. But opposite of that is, my husband's not moving fast enough, so I want you to do this. That's operating out of your protection, and that's operating out of your call, designated position as being a help meet. Right? We want a happy home, but we don't want to do it Yah's way. And we upset. Why it's not happening? Why my husband looking for a second wife? Some brothers looking for a second wife because that first wife ain't in her place. She's not helping, right? I'm not giving anybody an excuse to go get another wife, but what I'm saying that when you comprehend that you're there to help him, right, and not hinder him, right? Because we as men, when we have a goal or vision, we need help to get there. We can't do it on our own. That's why wife's supposed to get under the mission, surround the husband, and the children supposed to surround the husband. Everything should be pointed towards the head. This may not be your biological father, but he's the head of this household. Whatever he says goes. Right? All right. Now, let's go back in. But Adam gave names to every cattle and fowl operate. So we see Adam operate in his Libra capacity. He gave names to all the cattle, to the fowl, the air, to every beast of the field. But for Adam, there was not found a helpmeet for him. Right? Why? Well, he goes to helpmeet. Yah caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept. So where was the woman? See, this is the thing. See, women's liberated movement have done a disservice to the family because they want to make you feel like that you don't need a man. I can do bad all by myself, right? When you think like that, you hinder yourself from obtaining even the desire that you have. See, a woman's desire should be incorporated in her husband's desire. Your desire should be incorporated in that. That's why I said, when you are opening up yourself to be a wife to a husband, it should be somebody who you can look at and say, I can see where he's going and I want to follow, want to go in that direction. Right? Now, if you're in it and he ain't going where you want him to go, what does Shaul say? A woman might be, let's go there real quick, by their chaste conversation. Hold on a second. It says it might be won by their chaste conversation. It's not Paul, it's Peter. That's why I couldn't get it. Okay, let's look at 1 Peter 3, right? All right. This was not on my notes. Likewise, you wives, right? Be in subjection, right? What's that word, subjection? All right. It's the word hapateso, to be subordinate, reflectively to obey. So in other words, to obey is like obeying your CEO, right? See, I always say this, right? Women have more respect for the CEO of the corporation than they do of the husband in many cases. They would never talk back to the CEO. He could be fat, out of shape, no teeth, tight jean wearing, cutting cheese. You might think about that behind his back, go home, man, my CEO, he's funny. But you wouldn't say that to his face. But the man that's supposed to be protecting you, you'll come home and get in his face and got the neck on. You kicking against the prick. You bucking against your protection, right? Have mercy. Now, let me get back in here. All right. Likewise, wives, be in subjection, right, to your own husband. That means if the more tell you to do something, I got to check with my husband first. These churches, pastor, the wives back in the day, they lead the husband home and go to church. Obey the pastor then before they obey the husband. But he said, obey your own husband. That if any, no, he didn't say that the man was doing right. See, we look for excuse to not obey. Well, he ain't doing right. I'm not obligated to follow him because he ain't doing right. Look at what Paul said. Look what Shimon Kephas said. If any obey not the word, right, they also may without the word be won by the conversation of the wives. How about that? What's that word for conversation? To be won by the behavior, right? So what behavior is he talking about that the woman should have to her husband who is not obeying the word? You married that man, now you in Yahshua, he's still in the Lord God Christ and still serving the religions of the world. What is your responsibility? Are you to walk out of that marriage and say, right? What's your responsibility as a Yah-fearing woman? Okay? He told us. He said, if they obey not the word, that they also may without the word be won. You can win a heathen if you're an Israelite daughter who's walking in the fear of Yah. He might be the biggest devil on the planet. But if you walking in the fear of Yah and he see that, watch this now. Let's go back in. That they also may without the word. See, y'all shut your mouth, sisters. Stop. The Bible says, shut up. I'm getting like Nathaniel from IUIC. Shut up, woman. That's one thing he got right. talking too much. That he, it says, let me go back in there, that he made without the word. Not you quoting Bible verses at him. Without the word. This is the power that you, as an anointed daughter of Yah, have over that disobedient man. That man will come around. Watch what it says here. The Jew without the word, that they also may without the word be won by the conversation, the behavior. That's what that word, behavior, conversation. Conversation determines your attitude, right? If you talk, it's going to come with an attitude behind what you say, right? So it's not what you say, what he's trying to point out here, but what you do that's going to do what? Win, because that's the goal. You want to win, right? Nobody wants to be a loser, right? That without the word be won by the behavior of the wives. Watch this now, verse 2. While they behold your chaste conversation. Let's amplify it. While they inspect or watch. While they behold your chaste, hagnos, it says clean, innocent, modest, and perfect. See, the flesh will have you, I'm going to win him by seducing him. You can't win him by seducing him. You win him by having a heart that's, baby, I'm going to submit to you. That's the attitude. Whether I agree with you or not, you're my head. What's a man going to do? Is he going to fight that? He going to fight that? No, he ain't going to fight that. You coming, honey. You don't even have to say I disagree with you. Honey, you're my man. Whatever you say, baby. I'm following your lead. Man, that man's heart would melt like butter. The sun, like, wow. My wife has had a change of heart. But the world says, no, you go and put on a sexy negligee, put on your maid outfit and go cook him a meal and come and parade around him. But then at the same time, after you take off that outfit, you go back to the attitude. You're defeating your purpose. You're hindering your own protection. You're hindering your own productivity with a strategy that goes in contrary to the order. You're doing that to manipulate and to control, and it don't work. It may work for temporarily because guys are moved by what they see, but after that's all done and over with, you go back to the same old attitude, how it's going to be back in a war zone again. Why? Because you can win that man without a word by behaving yourself, right? Let's continue. Let's go back in. It says, while they behold your chaste conversation or behavior, right? Coupled with fear. How about that? Coupled with fear. To put in fear, alarm. See, I go a step further and say to reverence, to respect your husband, right? Even if he's wrong, you are obligated as a daughter of Israel to respect your husband, right? Because if you don't respect your husband, guess what? You don't respect Yah. You got a religion, but you don't respect Yah. But when you respect Yah, you respect Yah's protocol. Because why? That's your protection, right? All right, let's go back in. Verse, and then it goes back to this. This is going to amplify what I just said, right? Verse 3. Whose adorning, let it not be the outward adorning, the plaiting of hair, the wearing of gold, or putting on of apparel. See, Yah, through Shimon Kefa, is telling you that is not going to solve your problem. Juanita Bynum had a series. She said, man needs sex. Sex is temporary. Sex is not going to keep the man. Right? Men need a helper. Right? So when you are operating in your help meet capacity, because it's hard to find good help. A man ain't gonna leave a good helper to go down the street to find somebody that look good. That's straight up. Right? All right, let's go back in now. So he says, who's adorning, what's the word adorning? It's a cosmos, arrangement, decoration, right? So whose decoration or whose image is solely based on, right, on outward, you know, I went to the parlor and got my hair done, and you know, there's a whole lot of good-looking sisters that look that tight. Hair is tight, right? Nails done, hair done, everything. How does it? How that song go? Toes done, hair done, everything did. Something like that. That will win the eye, right? But that won't keep the heart. There's a whole lot of women that look good that don't have a man. It's not the outward appearing that's going to keep a man. You might get him with the eye. Oh, she's fine. As soon as he get in the house with you, he calling me on the phone, brother. I done perform weddings for people, and I try to console them. The same thing I'm saying now. He called me on the phone, brother. We not together no more. What happened? Brother, she wasn't who I thought she was. She looked good and everything. Boy, it was a fight every day. She's out of order. Who's fighting who? You fighting her or she fighting you? See, it can't be fight if only one person is doing the arguing, right? So, let it not be the adorning that is, be the outward adorning, a plaiting of hair, or wearing of gold, or putting on apparel. But, here it is. There goes that kicker. But let it be the hidden man. See, our sisters got all this out and all that out and trying to win a man. You know, my hair looking good. Don't win a man. When you win a man with that, somebody gonna come around that's got that and more. If that's what won him, he gonna go after the next thing he see that look like that. Oh yeah. Like he playing tennis. Then he becomes unstable. Right? So he says, let it be the hidden man of the heart in that which is not corruptible. Even the ornament of a meek, Praetus, mild, humble, of a meek and a quiet, who hescusios. It says keeping one's seat, sedentary, being still, undisturbed, and undisturbing. You know, we have a saying, a secular saying we got in the world. If she ain't happy, nobody's happy. That ain't Yah. That's the world thinking. If she ain't happy, Yah says she should be quiet. The world says, no, tell them a piece of your mind. That's the way of the world. And that's the way of the world that's designed to kill what you're trying to build. This lesson wasn't supposed to go this way. All right, let me get back in and see. I got to get back to where I was supposed to be going. But anyway, let's go ahead. But let it be the hidden man of the heart in that which is not corruptible, right? What's that word, corruptible? It says as a negative participle, undecaying, in essence or continuance. Let it not be corrupt, even the ornament of a meek and quiet spirit, which is in the sight of Yah of great price. The word says polluteless, extremely expensive. What's the expense of having a meek and quiet spirit? Your pride. Because pride said, I ain't gonna let him talk to me like that. I'm a woman. He gonna respect me. He gonna respect me. Shut up. That's what you need to do. Shut up. Stop running your mouth. Because you killing your household. You operating in the way of the world and the flow is not there. And you talk about, oh, I'm going to go and pray. That y'all said, look, stop praying and start doing. We got too many people praying and not doing. When stuff start going wrong, start doing. Stop praying and start doing. If you're praying and you're not doing, then you're not praying. You just religious. Right? But when you're doing, right, you're going to get in that book. When you're reading that book from day to day, that book ought to tell you how to have peace in your household. And peace don't come by you ta-ta-ta-ing. Peace comes by you operating in purpose. Right? Let's go back in. But let it be the hidden man of the heart in which is not corruptible, even an ornament of meek and quiet spirit, which is in the sight of Yah is a great price. For after this manner in old time, the Kodesh women, not the Kodak women, the Kodesh women, also who trusted in Yah, adorned themselves, being in subjection unto their own husbands. Right? You got to ask yourself a question. All that sign stuff that you're born under, that negative trait, you got to cast the devil out of your heart and follow Yah's protocol for your protection. The great price is the pride. Right? For after this manner in the old time, the Kodesh women also who trusted in Yah. So when you don't do it Yah's way, what you're ultimately saying is that I don't trust Yah. Yah need me to help him. Help me to get that man straight. You out of order. You're going to kill everything you're trying to build. You serving Yah, you following the law, statutes, commandments, you walk in it before him. He gonna see you, he gonna be like, wow. Wow. Honey, would you go in the kitchen and make me some pork chops? You say, honey, I love you with the love of Yah, but I can't serve you that. I can make you some lamb chops, and that tastes a whole lot better than the pork chops. He might be like, I respect that. Or he might go in the kitchen and start making his own pork chops. Then y'all might start dealing with him saying, you know what? She loves you. She's trying to help you to live. That pork is killing you. He might eat some of that pork chop and get dizzy, his blood pressure go up, and he's trying, I don't feel good. Ain't time for you to say, I told you not to eat that pork. Shut up, woman. You kill him what you're building. Right? Let Yah do it. Right? Nowhere in the world Hebrew Israelite households should be full of divorce and separation. If we doing it Yah's way, right? Who gets that man straight? We just showing you. Yah gets him straight, right? You can't straighten them out. All right, now let me go back in here. Let's see. He says, who trusted in Yah, adorn themselves, being in subjection. Because that word subjection again, hupatasso, subordinate to obey. Being in subjection under their own husbands, even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him master, controller. You know, the world tells us, oh, you trying to be controller. You trying to control the house. Yeah, he is the controller. Yes, I am trying to control the house because I'm trying to control it for your protection. Because Yah has made me to be the protector of the household. But if you don't let me do my job, we're going to have problems in this household. Yeah, but you're not moving fast enough. Kill him in the house. All right. Verse 7. Likewise, all right. Let me finish verse 6 again. It says, even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him master, whose daughters you are as long as you do well. How about that? So if you're not respecting your head like Sarah did, you are not a daughter of Yah. Uh-oh. Brother, you messing up now. I'm just reading what the brother said. It's called, what I got from Dr. Frederick Casey Price, called the flip-flop method. If you not obeying your husband like Sarah did Abraham, calling him master, then you not, he's saying the flip side of it, whose daughters you are if you do well. So what is doing well? Respecting that man that Yah placed you under, or that you opted to go under as your head, and respecting him, now you then are viewed in the eyes of Yah as being a daughter of Yah. Right? I'm going to give you bonus footage in a minute because this passage was not in my notes. But this is Ruach. Ruach must have pulled me over here. All right, let's go. Let's go. All right, go back in. whose daughters you are, as long as you do well and are not afraid. Oh, you just don't know my husband, brother. That man is stubborn. What are you afraid of? Yah's greater than your husband. If you handle Yah's business, Yah will handle your business. How about that? You'll be a winner and not a loser. Right? A loved one of mine, operating in fear, his wife told him that if he did such and such, she gonna leave him. I said, all due respect, if she gave you an ultimatum, as long as you're not breaking the covenant agreement between you and her and what you agreed to, right? And if she leave you because you did this, she did you a favor. What Shaul said about that, let the unbeliever part. Brother or sister is not under bondage in such cases. I'm just saying. So, what are you afraid of? He says, call that man, respect that man as being the supreme one in the house. Being the master, you're the master of this household, baby. Don't be afraid. Fear has torment. Right? It said, he that fears not perfected in love. Uh-oh. I ain't going to turn there. That'll be another 2 hours on that one there. All right, now, let's go back in. And are not afraid with any amazement. See that? So when you operate like Sarah, you are doing well and you're not afraid. And you are amazed because why? If you do, y'all, you like, man, is that how? I wish I had knew that's how that worked. Oh my goodness, look at my husband. I got a new husband. You want a new husband? Right? Do as Yah instructed, because it's a law. The men operate under Yah's law. Right? You won't be amazed if you follow the prescription of how to win that man, and you trust in Yah and don't be afraid. You will be amazed to see the change. You're like, oh my goodness, man, wow! I wish I knew that years ago, right? Yah wants you to operate, right, in His love, so that you can see the results that you desire in life. Man, I'm telling you, this thing is hitting me right now. Whew. All right, now, so with that, because it's a reciprocal, verse 7 says, likewise, husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge, giving honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel, and not being heirs together of the charis of the, what's the word? Kesed, I think, in the Hebrew, of life, that your prayers be not hindered. Okay. Right? That's good. So, whew, that was a mouthful right there. Oh my. That was a mouthful. What y'all think about that? I had no intentions of going that direction. And where was I supposed to have been going? Let me give you a few more verses that I have in my notes here. Let's go to the book of the law. Okay. Let's do this here. Let's go to Numbers chapter 30. We're going to show you something that a lot of Hebrews don't know about, don't operate or teach from. We're going to teach it to you. We're going to show you what all that we just said, Paul or Shimon Keph, I should say, didn't just make stuff up. He comprehend Yah's purpose and Yah's plan, right, for the household. So let's go to Numbers 30, right? Numbers 30. All right. And while y'all going there, let me look at my chat here, see who came in. We didn't greet yet. Let's see. Baruch Shabbat, Moray Josiah, and to Coach Deanna, Kima, YIM, Baruch Shabbat, and Lion Pride. Somebody made a contribution this week, and I didn't identify their government name with the contribution, and I want to thank you. So whoever that was, send me an email at Yaresh and Yahoo, because I want to acknowledge who. I know that I don't want to mention the name, put you on the spot, but you know who you are, and send me an email and let me know who you are on whether it be on Facebook or on YouTube. Not sure which platform you use, but I just wanted to acknowledge you and praise Yah for your contribution. So send me an email to yaresh@yahoo.com, YAHRESH@yahoo.com, or you can send it to Ask Malachi. I think I do I have my email up on there? Oh, Yaresh@yahoo is on there, right? Okay. Or you can text me on my phone, right? I just wanted to acknowledge the person. Okay. Baruch Shabbat, Lion Pride. All right, now, so Numbers 30. Here we go. Numbers 30, right? This is going to be the extended version for the day, since I spent an hour on the other subject, which is not relevant. Okay. All right. Well, it was relevant, but you know what I'm saying. Okay. Numbers 30. Shemaiah spake, Numbers 30, verse 1. Shemaiah spake unto the heads of the tribes concerning the children of Israel, saying, This is the thing which Yahuwah have commanded. So first thing, sorry about that. First thing we want to acknowledge is that Yah commanded it, not man, right? All right. Verse 2. If a man vow a vow unto Yah, or swear an oath to bind his soul with a bond, he shall not break his word. He shall do according to all that proceedeth out of his mouth. Okay, now, no, we're not talking to the men, but other words, you can't walk away from your vow, right? You made a vow. You are in it, right? because you made a vow. That's protection to that party you made a vow to, whether it be a business deal or it could be somebody that you hooked up with. You made her your Isha. And now you're not getting along, you want to walk out. As the old young folks say on the street, you stuck like Chuck. All right. Verse 3. If a woman, this is deep right here. This is going to show you women are blessed. Yah will protect you even in your ignorance. Watch this. If a woman also vow a vow unto Yah and bind herself by a bond, being in her father's house in her youth. So where is she at? She's in her father's house. But she vowed a vow in her father's house. A woman, mind you now. She vowed a vow in her father's house and bind herself by a bond, being in her father's house in her youth. And her father hears her vow, right? And her bond wherewith she hath bound her soul. And her father, watch this now, shall hold his peace at her. Then all her vows shall stand. Every bond wherewith she hath bound her soul shall stand. Now, get ready for the kicker. So she's a grown woman living in her household with her father. Don't matter how old she was. She could be 49. She's living in her household with her father, right? Watch what the Most High says. This is the protection of the woman, right? Watch this now. Verse 5. But if her father disallow her in the day that he heareth not any of her vows or of her bonds wherewith she hath bound her soul shall stand, and Yah shall forgive her because her father disallowed her. Isn't that wonderful how Yah offers protection to the woman who made a decision? Why? Because that, in this case, it's her father. He covered her in her ignorance or in her emotional decision to vow a vow. Right? The father can disannul any vow if she's in his household. How about that? Verse 5. Verse 6. And if she had at all a husband, when she vowed or uttered all out of her lips, wherewith she bound her soul, and her husband heard it, and held his peace at her in the day that he heard it, then her vows shall stand. Her bonds wherewith she bound her soul shall stand. Right? Here's the kicker. Verse 8. But if her husband disallow, right? That's that word disallow. Refuse, forbid, dissuade, neutralize. In other words, husband saying, I ain't with that. See, that's why they don't want to follow the law. The law of Yah protects the household. A lot of people have been in debt because wife made a decision without the husband's approval, and now we in financial debt. And he didn't respond and say, nope, we ain't doing that. We in trouble. All right. Verse 8. But if her husband disallow her on the day that he heard it, then he shall make her vow which she vowed, and that which she uttered with her lips, wherewith she bound her soul of none effect, and Yah shall forgive her. I bet you didn't know that was in the Tanakh. See, that's why it's important for you to comprehend the protocol, the importance that the Most High puts over that head in your house. The world system not going to honor that. Sister can go out and buy a brand new car in Yah's protocol, and she comes back, baby, I just bought a car. He could go down to that bank and say, I'm not with that. Get me out of that loan. And they had to rip up the contract, take the vehicle back. That's why you're not under the law. They're not going to do that. The law protects the woman. Yah placed the man in the household to protect the woman from, watch this now, the hustlers. Any man will come in your house and want to talk to your wife without you is a hustler. How about that? All right. Verse 9. But every vow of a widow and of her that is divorced, wherewith they have bound their souls, shall stand against her. Look at that. What's that saying? If you a widow or divorced, you don't have a cover. You open prey to be taken advantage of. So when you disrespect the head that's in the house, it's just like you are a widow or divorced. And everything that comes to you, you deserve. Why? Because you operated out of Yah's protocol. That's hard, but that's we say we follow law, statutes, and commandments. Yah laid the order out, and if you don't operate under the cover of your head, you operating like a widow or a divorcee. Let's read it again. So y'all won't say Kazakh, these Kazakh's words, right? All right. Every vow of a widow and, what's the word for widow? A widow, also a desolate place, right? Bereavement, Okay? Every vow of a widow and of her that is divorced, word is garash, to drive out, possession, expatriate, or divorce. Every vow of a widow and her that is divorced, wherewith they have bound their souls, shall stand against her. Verse 10. And if she vowed, in her husband's house. Wait a minute. Like Gina Jennings. Wait a minute. Her husband's house? I thought it was our house. Oh, my. Have mercy. All right, let me get back in. If she vowed in her husband's house, or bound her soul by a bond with an oath. So we got bond, right? We got obligation, or oath, which is shabua. How about that? Something sworn, an oath. If she vowed in her husband's household or bound her soul by a bond with an oath, and her husband heard it and held his peace at her and disallowed her not, then all of her vows shall stand, and every bond wherewith she bound her soul shall stand. But, verse 12, if her husband have utterly made them void on the day he heard them, then whatsoever proceedeth out of her lips concerning her vow or concerning the bond of her soul shall what? Shall do like the guy with the street. Shall do what? Shall not stand. Her husband have made them void. Her husband have made them void, and Yah shall forgive her. How about that? How about that for protection? But see, the world wants you to look at submission as, I'm a doormat. You trying to make me a doormat. No, Yah's trying to protect you. You get a pass. Unlike the man make a vow. You stuck like Chuck. That don't seem fair, right? If that's Yah, that's what Yah did. Yah holds men in a higher regard of respect. You get a pass if you're a woman. But if you're a man, you are bound. As they say, you're duty bound. And any man that try to tell you you can get out of it, he's out of order. Because Yah said you bound. You walk out and leave your wife, I'm going to tell you, go back home. Get you a room somewhere in the house, right? But you bound. You the head of the house. You made a vow. Yeah, brother, but you don't know what the stuff she put me through. You made a vow. I'm sorry. You made a vow. All that you got left to do now is pray that she has a desire to follow Yah's protocol. Go home. Yeah, brother, but you just don't know how hard that is. You say you follow law, statutes, commandments. that's what his order is, right? All right, now, verse 13. Every vow and every binding oath to afflict the soul, her husband may establish it, or her husband may make it void. Look at it. Every vow and every binding oath to afflict the soul, her husband may establish it, or her husband may make it void. You see how important Yah put that man there? Right? So much so that he could void the vow of his wife. Right? You can establish it or you can void it. All right? Verse 14. But if her husband altogether hold his peace, don't say nothing, at her from the day to day, then he established all her vows. Or it's like he co-signed, right? He established all her vows. What's the word for establish? Kun. Rise, right? He established all her vows or all her bonds, right? Obligations. That's the word asar, obligation of vow. He establishes her bonds, all her bonds, which are upon her. He confirms them because he held his peace in her in that day that he heard them. 15. But if he shall anyways make them void after that he have heard them, then he shall bear her iniquity. I'll read that again. But if he shall anyways make them void after that he have heard them, then he shall bear her iniquity. So when you operate without your husband, wives, and you vow, and he makes void, guess who's bearing your iniquity? You have caused your husband to bow because you made a decision that wasn't sound, but it was an emotional decision, and that emotional decision that your husband voided, now he's got to bear the judgment. Right? Verse 16. These are the statutes. So it's not an option. It's not something that, this is just something that may or may not happen. No, it's a statute. These are statutes which Yah commanded, Shemaiah, between a man and his wife, between the father and his daughter, being yet in her youth, in her father's house. Okay, so I stand corrected. It says in her youth, so she's not 49 years old. Okay, in her father's house. She shouldn't be 49 in her father's house. You're 49, you can't, you can't find a husband. We need to do some evaluation to find out why. My. And it's people want to blame that on looks. Well, I don't look good like her. It ain't about that. See, we just went through the whole lesson. You wasn't listening to what we just read. It's not about what you look like. It's about what you are on the inside. Because when you are that woman, right, a daughter of Yah, you like a magnet. You're going to attract the husband to you. Right? Why? Because when they see the characteristical trait of Yah, right, in your DNA versus the negative traits of your zodiac sign operating through you, then they'll inquire, who's that sister? Brother says, that's my daughter. I like her. She's got a good spirit. Not like we do. Man, she built nice. Let it not be the outward adorning of the apparel, the braiding of the hairs and all of that, but let it be the hidden woman in the heart. So what is a woman's purpose? Right? To be a help. And if you don't have a help meet, and you're in your father's household, he's your cover. Maybe some sisters are out on their own single, don't have a husband. Maybe y'all speaking to you to go back home to your father. I'm just saying. Because you need a cover, you need protection, right? What about those of us that don't have a husband or a father? Well, Yah will be the father to the fatherless. How about that? And if you desire a husband and you single, you don't have a husband, if you be that daughter of Israel that Yah has described, that Shimon Kefa broke down, they'll come busting the door there and wanting to know, sister, you available? Just make sure that if you are a single sister, that you got somebody that's spiritual, a male, like a spiritual father, somebody that you can trust, that you can bring that man to and let the man talk to him, not looking for all the good in him, looking to see if he's ready to be your head. Find out where your head is and find out, are you ready to be headed by somebody, right? And if not, then maybe it's time to wait until you get in that position. But if you're not willing to submit to a headship, then you should stay single. Okay. I had more, but let's see, what time is it? Time has expired. Let me give you a few more verses real quick. Everybody knows about this. 1 Corinthians 11. Paul is speaking on the law, and now that we went through the law, now this will actually make sense of what he said. 1 Corinthians 11. And let's start at verse 2, right? But I would have you know that the head of every man is the Messiah, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of the Messiah is Yahuwah. Every man praying or prophesying and having his head covered dishonor his head. But every woman that prayeth or prophesieth with the head uncovered dishonor her head, for that is even all one if she was shaven. For if the woman be not covered, let her also be shorn. But if it be a shame for a woman to be shorn or shaven, let her be covered. For man is indeed ought not to cover his head, for as much as he is the image or the kabod of Yah, but the woman is the kabod of the man. For the man is not of the woman, but the woman is of the man. Neither was the man created for the woman, but the woman for the man. For this cause ought the woman to have power on her head because of the angels. Nevertheless, neither is the man without the woman, neither is the woman without the man in Yah. For as the woman is of the man, even so is the man also by the woman, but all things are of Yah. Okay. That's good. Okay. One other place, let's see. I think I got one or two more I'll read. We read First Peter 3:1 was in my notes. How about that? Let's go to 1 Timothy 2:13. 1 Timothy 2:13. We're gonna wrap it up right there. 1 Timothy 2:13 through 15. For this cause also, hold on a second. For this cause also thank we Yah without ceasing, because we received the word of Yah, which you heard of us. You received it not as the word of men, but as in truth the word of Yah, which effectually worketh also in you that believe. Is that the one I wanted? 1 Corinthians, the first, that's Thessalonians. 1 Timothy 2. I'm reading the wrong one. 1 Timothy 2:13. That's Thessalonians. Okay. Okay, verse 2 and 9. This is familiar. Everybody's read this before. In like manner also that women adorn themselves in modest apparel with shamefacedness and sobriety, not with broided hair or gold or pearls or costly array, but which becometh of women professing righteousness with good works. Let the women learn in silence with all subjection. But I suffer not a woman to teach nor usurp authority over the man, but to be in silence. Now, this verse here is often used in reference to church or congregation, but this is talking about the household, which we just showed you in the book of the law, right? So it's improper application. Okay. We say let the women learn in silence. It's talking about at home. I suffer not a woman to teach or usurp authority over the man, but to be in silence. For Adam was first formed, then Kawah. And Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in the transgression. Notwithstanding, she shall be saved in childbearing if they continue in Immunah and in the Ahaba and Kodesh with sobriety. Right. All right. So, as we close, the purpose of the woman, as we see, is to come under, surround the head that she's under, or come under the cover of her father, if she's in a household of her father. And to, even with that, think about that now. Sisters that are not married, live at home with their fathers, you know you serving Yah. Don't leave out the household. Keep serving Yah in that household. You just might win that father or that brother. Say, man, sister, you different. You're not wearing hoochie clothes no more, and you respectful around the house. You doing everything we ask you to do. And what, man, what's the got hold of you? That's an opportunity to be a testimony, right? But we so quick to get out. when things is not going right, you know, my family, oh, I'm leaving the house, right? Stay right there. Stay right there. And let y'all do it, right? So that's all I have for today, brothers and sisters. Pray for you guys something out of that. And we pray that all is well with Israel. And as we see things happening, we're in crunch time, and the enemy is trying to kill the influence. And what better place to start than to start with the family, right? So our prayer and our desire is that we all come in line so that we can see the full blessings that Yah has for us, right? So with that said, brothers and sisters, I'm going to go ahead and close out in prayer. It's 11:30 now. Father, thank and praise you for those that join us on this live stream today, those that will come later on, and those that will not even come in contact with this video or our channel or me in particular. But we pray for every Israelite that are keeping the covenant, and every stranger that is outside of Israel that's coming under the covenant. We even pray for them today, that we can walk in obedience to all that you've commanded us according to your law, statutes, and commandments. And we pray that the peace of Yah that passes all comprehension keep our hearts and minds through Yahshua the Messiah. Until the next time we say, Hallelujah, Hallelujah, Hallelujah. All right, brothers and sisters, love you with the love of Yah. Remember, you enjoy the rest of Shabbat. Go ahead and fellowship with some of these other online chat forums and so forth. And we'll see you all at the next appointed time. I'm going to, I will look at the comments offline. I'm going to go ahead and shut down now. All right. Shalom.